I was still in my car when the message came through. A single pin on a map, a street name I didn't recognize, a house number that felt heavier than it should have. I didn't ask who sent it. I already knew. The engine idled. The clock blinked 11:42 p.m. My hands were steady on the wheel, which surprised me. I had imagined this moment differently, rage, shaking, something cinematic. Instead, there was only a quiet pressure behind my eyes, like the moment before a storm decides whether it will break. I told myself I wouldn't go. I repeated it, slowly, carefully, as if restraint were a spell that needed precise pronunciation. I held myself back for a long time when I found out where my wife's lover lived. I memorized the route. I learned the shortcuts. I learned the neighbors' schedules. I did all of this without leaving the car. Then I turned the key and drove. 4 hours later, my wife would learn in the hospital what I had done to him. Not from me. Never from me. From the look on her own face when she understood that the ground beneath her had been removed with surgical precision. When she entered the room, she was filled with terror. Not because of what I had done to him, but because she saw what I had done to her. It started earlier, much earlier, with a look she didn't know how to hide. We were eating dinner, the kind of quiet we had perfected over years, forks clinking, television murmuring. She checked her phone and smiled, small, involuntary, private. Then she caught me watching, and her face rearranged itself into something familiar, too familiar. That was the moment. The fracture. The first hairline crack running through everything I thought I knew. I didn't accuse. I didn't flinch. I cataloged. The way she angled the screen away. The way she showered longer. The sudden tenderness that felt rehearsed, like an apology she didn't intend to give. At night, she slept easily. I lay awake, counting breaths that no longer felt shared. Betrayal isn't loud at first. It whispers. It waits for you to listen. I became a careful man. I learned passwords by watching her fingers reflect in dark screens. I requested phone records with the politeness of someone who trusts the system. I told myself I was only curious, that I could stop at any time. Every number I didn't recognize became a thread. Every deleted message a missing tooth in a smile. I followed patterns. Tuesday afternoons, Thursday nights, a gap where errands should have been. I watched her from across rooms, from across days, from across the narrowing distance between suspicion and certainty. Externally, I was calm, predictable, kind. Internally, I was building something precise. I didn't want to catch them in the act. That would have been crude. I wanted understanding, totality. I wanted to know how deep the lie went and how long she had been practicing it in front of my face. When I finally saw his name, it felt anticlimactic. No thunder. Just confirmation. A man with a life ordinary enough to think he could borrow mine. The truth arrived in a thin envelope. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just paper and ink and numbers that didn't lie. I sat at the kitchen table when I opened it. The same table where we had planned vacations, argued about paint colors, pretended we were safe. The report didn't care about any of that. It simply told me what was real. I waited until she came home. I placed the envelope between us. Didn't slide it, didn't push it. I let it exist. What's this? She asked. Something I already know, I said. She read. Her breathing changed first. Then her hands. Then her eyes finally found mine, searching for a version of me that might still negotiate. There was none. She spoke, too fast. Too many words. I didn't interrupt. Silence is a blade if you know how to hold it. When she finished, I nodded once. That's what I thought, I said. I didn't confront him with anger when the message came through. I confronted him with facts. A single pin on a map. His house was a street name I didn't recognize. Imagined. A house number that felt heavier than it should have. Kind of place where people believe. I didn't ask who sent it. Anonymity is protection. I already knew. I knocked. The engine idled. He opened the door. The clock blinked 11:42 until he saw my face. My hands were steady on the wheel. I told him who I was, which surprised me. I told him what I knew. I had imagined. I showed him what I had documented. Rage, shaking, something cinematic. Every promise he thought existed only in pressure behind my eyes. I told him what would happen. Like the moment before a storm decides. I didn't raise my voice. Break. I told myself I wouldn't go. I explained. I repeated it methodically, slowly, carefully. How his job would know. If restraint were a spell that how the narrative would not be his to control. I held myself back for a long time when I found out where my wife's lover lived. 4 hours later, he was in a hospital bed. I learned the shortcuts, not beaten. I learned the neighbors' schedules. His
I
heart
did all
had
of this
betrayed
without
him the way
leaving
he
the
had
car.
betrayed me.
Then I turned
the
the
body
key
has
and
a way
drove.
of recognizing
4
when the
hours
lie
later,
is
my
over.
wife would learn in
My
the
wife
hospital
arrived
what I had done
pale,
to
frantic,
him.
desperate
Not
to
from me.
understand.
Never from
When she
me.
saw me standing
From
there,
the look on her own
untouched,
face when she
unchanged,
understood
something
that the
inside her
ground beneath
collapsed.
her had been
"What did you do?"
removed with surgical
she
precision.
whispered.
When
I met
she
her
entered
eyes,
the room,
calm,
she was filled with
exact.
terror. I told the truth,
Not because
I
of
said.
what I had done to him.
That was when terror
but because she
filled her.
saw what I had
Not
done
fear
to
for
her.
him.
It started
Fear for
earlier.
herself. Much
She
earlier.
saw finally that
With
there
a
was
look,
no
she
chaos
didn't know
here.
how to hide. No
We
crime
were
of
eating
passion
dinner.
to blame. The
Just
kind of quiet we
consequence.
had perfected
Clean and
over
irreversible.
years.
Forks
I didn't stay
clinking.
long.
Television
There was
murmuring.
nothing left to witness.
She checked her phone and smiled.
Now, in the quiet
Small,
that followed,
involuntary,
I feel nothing that
private.
resembles regret.
Then she caught
I did
me
not win her
watching,
back.
and her face
I did not
rearranged
try.
itself into something
I didn't
familiar.
need to.
Too
The
familiar.
truth did its work.
That was the moment.
And I walked away.
The fracture.
Lighter.
Carrying
the first
only
hairline
the certainty
crack
that
running
some
through
betrayals
everything I
don't
thought
end
I
with
knew.
forgiveness.
I didn't accuse.
They end with clarity.
I didn't flinch. I cataloged. The way she angled the screen away. The way she showered longer. The sudden tenderness that felt rehearsed. Like an apology she didn't intend to give. At night, she slept easily. I lay awake, counting breaths that no longer felt shared. Betrayal isn't loud at first. It whispers. It waits for you to listen.